It's been quite a while since I drove the BMW X2 first, and for 2024, it gets a new generation. This is an all-new vehicle built from the ground up, and it is a bigger vehicle than the one that it replaces. At 180 millimeters longer, 21 millimeters wider, and 64 millimeters taller, this new BMW X2 is getting into the almost compact size, despite being a subcompact. Now this is the 2024 BMW X2 xDrive28i. There's two engine options here in Canada for 2024, this and then the M35i. This one starts at $48,800 Canadian or $42,000 in the States, and our as-tested price with delivery is just over $62,000 Canadian or just over $51,000 Canadian. Underneath the hood is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine producing 241 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Going up to the M35i, you'll be getting obviously a lot more power, but I think that this is going to be the one that most people will be looking at. During the time since I drove the previous generation X2, I certainly saw more regular X2s than I did the M Performance models. Now, there's a couple things I want to note about this vehicle. Because we have the M Sport package, not only does it give you the Shadowline exterior, we have the upgraded rims on here, but the front end is quite different. Not only are the kidney grills blacked out and have a different design to them, the front of the whole vehicle is pretty much different than what you would get on the regular non-M Sport version. This trapezoidal design to the front end is unique to the M Sport with the black piano finish to it. I think it looks really cool. This is a very sporty looking vehicle. And then obviously by going with the M Sport, our lower cladding is all body color. And this, my friends, is the Vegas red paint. It is an upgrade. I think it looks pretty sharp. On the inside, we also have the Atlas gray and smoke white Veganza leather. We've talked about this when we featured the i5. BMW wants to have more sustainable materials for their vehicles, including the dashboard, which is made out of that same synthetic leather. Now, our test vehicle also has the premium enhanced package as well as the driver assistance plus packages, so it is very well equipped. I've got pretty much all the features that you would expect to find at this price point, at this size segment. I'd say the only real feature missing from this would be ventilated seats. It's not an option across the X2 at all. You would have to go up to an X3 in order to get them. And thinking back even last week when I drove the Cadillac XT4, pretty similar size segment in overall packaging, that vehicle did have ventilated seats. So one little miss there, but we have panoramic sunroof, or moonroof rather. It's a fixed piece of glass. It does not open. We have adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, a power rear lift gate, heated seats with heated steering wheel, navigation, 360 cameras. I mean, I'm telling you, this thing is extremely well equipped. So the ventilated seats would have been nice, especially since we've booked this vehicle during a heat wave. It has felt like about 41 degrees Celsius over the last couple of days, and today is no exception. So rather than stand out here and melt in the heat, I think we should jump in the car, start it up, take it on the road, and go over everything else you need to know if you're in the market for the second generation BMW X2. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why I've decided to title this video Wildly Efficient, and I will tell you right off the bat that this did a pretty magical 5.7 liters per 100 kilometers on our 100 kilometer test loop. I truly couldn't believe it. Now, I had the vehicle in eco mode, efficient mode, so you're getting a little bit less air conditioning and you're getting, a little bit less throttle response and stuff like that, but 5.7, when we compare it right back to back with the Cadillac XT4 Sport that we had. Again, that vehicle, it was in two-wheel drive mode, which is something you can't do with the BMW here, right? xDrive it does its own thing. So you're getting power to the front, you're getting power to the rear, you're getting power to all of them. Whatever it is, you're not in control of it. The Cadillac did 7.3 liters per 100 kilometers. That is a monumental difference for a small vehicle like this. So if you're looking for something fuel efficient, this is the way to go. Now, there is a trade-off with that, and it is really one of two complaints I have about this vehicle. This auto stop-start system is not calibrated well for the North American market. I'm sure in Europe, where everything's a roundabout or a traffic light that you're going to be stopped at for a while, it would be great. But here in North America, where we have no idea how to use roundabouts, stop signs are unfortunately the way of life, and this vehicle doesn't handle them very well. The software mapping for the actual stop-start system is, in theory, good. I come up to a stop sign, I'm slowing down, the vehicle actually shuts off. So we'll see how well it does here, because it's pretty much every time. So I come up to a stop, putting on the brake, the vehicle will shut off just before I get to 0. So it might not quite work as much here. Oh, there we go. And like, I'm trying to get the power, There is a delay, and that's my biggest complaint when it comes to this vehicle. As I'm coming up to those stop signs, the vehicle's shutting off, but it's not starting up quick enough. So what ends up happening, and there's a delay, even if it starts up right away, it doesn't give you the full, you're not getting full power anyway, but you're not getting, really the correct amount of throttle as you start off the line. And that's to help with maneuvering in parking lots and things like that, so you don't accidentally ram into people. But when you come to a four-way stop here in North America, the rules are clear, but in practice, people do whatever they want. So I get to the stop sign first, vehicle shuts off, I let off the brake, try to go, and now there's this delay of a second, so the vehicle's kind of like, I'm gonna go, and then the next person thinks, I'm gonna go because this guy's not going, and it could cause problems. So yes, you can turn it off if you push the vehicle menu button, you can go into the drivetrain, and you can turn off the auto stop start. You have to do that every time. There's no button for it like they used to have before. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. Now, for the rest of the vehicle drive here, I will keep it on because I would like to show you exactly how it feels. Just, if I can show exactly how I'm experiencing it. It's not my favorite. It's the only thing. Everything else about this has been really enjoyable. I like the size, and in fact, the size of this, obviously it's gotten bigger from the previous one, but it is extremely good. If you're looking for a small vehicle that has tons of space, whether it's passenger space or cargo space, like, you will not be disappointed. Not only does the trunk have already a good amount of space for like a coupe style, but underneath that is a huge storage area too. So, and it's got a lip, right? Because of the trunk design, there's actually a lip. The level surface there for where you store things isn't flush with the actual trunk opening, which maybe is not great for everybody, but for me it's perfect, because it means if I've got grocery bags or things back there, maybe something's rolling it around, it's gotten loose, when I open up the trunk, it's not going to fall out because there's that lip there, inch and a half lip or whatever, to prevent things from coming out. So trunk space, I like it. And even the back seat space, I sat back there to film the B-roll as I always do here, and I found that I was much more comfortable in the back seats. Not because the seats are bad. This armrest is brutal. This thing is huge, and it sticks out into the driver compartment way too much. So, I talked about it with my wife. She's a much smaller person than I am, and she feels the same thing too. Because you're seated and you're gonna rest your leg on it, it is kind of sharp. And that has been my number one complaint, aside from the auto start system. And that has been my number 2 complaint with this vehicle. This gigantic armrest / design motif for having a handle to grab, it digs into my leg, and it makes it very uncomfortable. My 2.5-hour drive home with this, when I picked it up, I gotta say, it was starting to get to me. I was trying to stretch my leg over so it could have a little bit of relief. So I don't know why it's so big. This is a huge, and it's too low for me to use as an armrest, and it's way too wide to actually accommodate the button. So that's just another small detail that ends up being a deal breaker for me, because it doesn't make the front seats comfortable to sit in. Luckily, because the back seats are a little bit different, maybe they sit a little bit lower, I don't end up bumping into that. So it's actually more comfortable to be a passenger for me in this vehicle, which I don't think I have ever said that even about an S-Class. But that's really it. Those are the 2 major complaints. And no ventilated seats. It's a small thing, for $60K, I kind of expect it at least to be an option. But for the most part, it's been super efficient. It's comfortable enough, right? The seats are supportive. They are a little bit more on the firm side. There's some decent adjustment overall with it, but they're comfortable enough if it just wasn't for that armrest thing. And then, I like the looks of it. I know some people say that, the current design language of BMW isn't quite their thing. And I can see the way that this looks. It kind of looks a little bit comic bookish. Like it's cool. I like it though. I like the look of it, and I think that this has gotten more grown up. But the previous generation looked more like a hot hatchback, but this, even though it's gotten a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more sporty, the fact that it's bigger, it's grown up, the interior has changed, and the interior is quite functional. It's definitely a much more mature version of the X2, and I think that these will sell well. Aside from the fact that I've had no problems whatsoever getting around, The drivetrain has been great. You know, it's a 7-speed dual clutch. We do have flappy paddles. I think that an 8-speed ZF would have been a better option, but you know, transmission works fine. Engine performance is there. The ride is also pretty good. You know, this is not the M Sport model, but it still does say it has an M adaptive suspension. It's not quite the same way that the BMW M adaptive suspensions work on larger vehicles. This is more of an entry-level adaptive suspension, but you do have a decent enough ride. And you know, my major complaint with the X2 of generation past was that it was too loud as you were driving around, and that's not the case with this one. I do find that the road noise, especially on the highway, no problems whatsoever. So it's a good update. I like it. I think the tech in here works. I think that this is a good, you know, entry level for somebody who's getting into the BMW brand for the first time, whether it's their first new BMW or they're looking to have, you know, a smaller SUV to get around town. Yeah, I do see this being a little bit better as a city runabout. So if you live in a larger city, you're going to be driving around and stuff, it's going to be good. And I do hope that the iX2 comes to our market. We do get the iX1, but the iX2, the fully electric version, isn't here yet. So much like we talked about again with the Cadillac XT4 that I just did, you know, having hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and full electrics is a good option for people. BMW is rolling that out, so it'd be nice to have a plug-in version of this. But this has been a fun little drive with this. I have enjoyed it quite a bit, and it is a big improvement over the previous one, which I already liked. So what I would suggest you do, though, is take a look at the video that we did back in the previous generation with that X2 M35i. It was a fun car. I enjoyed it, so you can check out that video there. We also encourage you to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. And also, if you have questions about this vehicle or the video itself, let us know in the comments below. We do try to get back to everybody that we can, so make sure your voice is heard as we're building our community here at PRN Test Drive. So I appreciate you watching, and until next time, take care.